Hello. What is up, ADHD gang? I haven't posted in forever. But today we're doing a video art related. I do art, I do multiple different types of art. We're gonna get into drawing, painting, what is it, and kind of how you get started. So let's go. So I'm gonna just talk about like all the different mediums and stuff like that, and then I'm going to be getting into what I kind of recommend. How do you start out with art? What's kind of like my favorite things to use and stuff like that. So there's many different forms of art. The most common is probably these. This is the Create-A-Color. And this is just graphite pencils. That is like the most basic form of art, and everyone really does it. It is a great kind of starting point because it's black and white, and once you learn all the basics, that's easy. And a step up from that would be this. You don't have to have any of these brands. These are just the brands that I've acquired from technical school and just places around me. These are charcoal. Charcoal is not way harder, but charcoal is definitely a step up. Charcoal is very messy, and yeah. The next kind of form of art, since we're going along with pencils, is colored pencils. I have so many different ones. Colored pencil, again, not that bad. They're still able to be like blended and stuff like that. That is a good medium. The next medium, this one's kind of common. Pens. Whatever colors you like. Pens are very easily accessible. Colored pens are my favorite just for sketching. Another medium, I don't have it with me. It is my least favorite art medium, which is chalk pastels. And just pastels in general, I find that they're sometimes very hard to work with. There's a difference. There's soft and there's hard. Softer is easier to work with, harder not so much. That really just depends. One of my favorites, my favorite is pens. I love colored pens, but this is like cheap, just watercolor. Probably get it at the dollar store. Not really sure, but watercolor is my favorite. I actually have metallic watercolors, which are one of my favorites. And one of the last mediums is markers. These are Ohuhu markers. I really like them. They're alcohol markers, so they blend fairly easily, and they're way cheaper than Copic. But if you have the funds to go out and get Copic, those are way better. And that's not the last one. The last one, paint and all that. So we're gonna go over some of the tools that I kind of recommend. I cannot pronounce these. Oh, I guess I can. Tombow. They're like Japanese things. I got them off of Amazon. One's like a flexible kind of like brush nib and all that. They're like calligraphy pens, but I use them to outline all the time. Another favorite thing is jelly rolls. Jelly rolls are so useful for adding white. X-Acto knife kind of just added this within like the past few years, and I love it. It's good for cutting out things, cutting so many things. This is a Faber-Castell pencil, but it is an eraser, and you can sharpen it just like a pencil. I don't have it here, but kneaded erasers are also my favorite, and none of these things are absolutely necessary. They're just kind of things that I use. Colored pens are my favorite. I really like just the standard thick ballpoint pens. This is not necessary at all, but I got this. It came with a set, and it was like a person, and she was on like a runway, stuff like that. But you can easily just hold the paper up to your window and do it that way as well. Another thing I don't have with me, I'm trying to find it right now, a ruler. Rulers are really good for straight edges. And the last thing that you need is a sketchbook. My sketchbooks are fairly on the cheaper side. If you have a Ross, I obviously painted the cover, but if you have a Ross is my favorite place to kind of get sketchbooks, because usually a lot of their sketchbooks are mixed media, and it's also like $5, I think. And they're just, in general, my favorite. And then for like painting and watercolor, I suggest these. Don't know what they're called, but they're travel. So like you unscrew it and then you fill that with water, and then you screw this back on. And what you can do is, in your watercolor, you press on it and the water will come out in the tip and all that. That way you don't have to have like a cup. So if you want to like go outside, go to the park, you don't have to like bring a cup of water with you. It's already in here. And obviously there's like so many other things, paper towels, like if you got a palette or something. And yeah, so now I'm gonna kind of talk about how do you get into art. How does this all kind of start? So first you need your sketchbook, and second off you need your phone. My phone is there, or a computer. Whatever device you have will work just fine. You don't even have to have a device if you don't want to. You need some type of reference. People always are like, oh, you're not supposed to use a reference. Like that's not good. References help so much. I just lost my train of thought. Words. So yeah, essentially when I started out drawing, I started out at technical school. So I was essentially taught like color theory and then the basics and then all that. Personally, I wouldn't start with shading. I wouldn't get into color. I wouldn't get into anything. I would just take your regular ordinary pens, get a reference photo, and essentially do this. This is what I've been doing today. You don't have to do the like perspective stuff, but I just looked at references of bunny rabbits and I drew it with pen. The reason why I suggest starting out with pen is because with pencil you're tempted to erase it and like try to perfect it and fix it. Now that's good. It's good to do that, but if you start with pen, like look at some of these, like that one, like look at that one there, like what is that? And then there's like some better ones, you know what I mean? Pen, if you make a mistake, oh well, you know what I mean? You can't like go back and fix it, but you can like learn from it, I guess, and all that. And that's one of the main things that you kind of want to worry about with your sketchbook. You don't want your sketchbook to like, oh, this is like good paper, it's only for good drawings. It's a sketchbook and it's okay to mess up. That's why I kind of get my sketchbooks like a little bit cheaper, so that way like if I do something like this in my sketchbook and like I hated this, I tried to do something, didn't like it and all that, so yeah, if you mess up, there may be pieces you don't like. You may end up having like, I was just having a good day a while ago and like just drawing things, you know. Your sketchbook shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have to worry about, oh, it's like gotta be perfect, because you're really the only one seeing your sketchbook unless you're showing it to other people. But still, I mean, art is imperfect. So I would suggest starting out with pen, and then if you really want to move, I would suggest on YouTube, Skillshare, so many platforms, and I would suggest getting into some graphite and learning different shading techniques and different ways to like start getting into like blending and stuff like that, and values. Learning the value scale and getting into all that stuff is what I would suggest next. Then after this, if you want to move on to color, that might be like the next step. But like I said, it's all in the references, whether you're outside looking just at nature in general. You don't have to have a laptop, a phone, or something. Go outside and stare at a tree for like a half an hour and draw it. Turn move your chair on, move yourself around and catch it at different angles, catch it in different light settings as well. Go outside and draw a chair, draw the house. I mean, house is a little bit much, but that's what I would recommend. And if you want to get into shading as well, you don't have to use charcoal or graphite pencils. You can shade with pens. Pens, you can learn the same tricks and do that. And I find pens so nice in a sketchbook because they're colorful. It adds, like I said, it adds like color to a sketchbook. So now your sketchbook isn't just all black and white. It's got orange, pink, purple, and stuff like that. So that's how I'd recommend like kind of starting. And some good tips on like where do I start? What do I start drawing? It all just depends on your purpose. Do you just want to draw as a hobby? Do you want to do you see yourself as like a portrait artist? Do you see yourself doing more realism, cartoons? You want to maybe start thinking about your style and what you essentially want to do. For me, it's kind of just a hobby. It's not something serious. I'd like it to be a little bit more serious. So I have things in my sketchbook that are, here, I can show you. Like this thing here. I have realism in here. I have cartoons. I have wax stuff like this. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to do it all essentially, but once you really get started, you'll kind of figure out what your style is and developing that. And art is essentially just a bunch of shapes, so don't worry if it's not going too well. Just go back and look at the different shapes and look at stuff like that. And that's really it. That's all that drawing is. Drawing is very simple and it's very easy. I feel like any of you would be able to get into it, and yeah, that's about it. If you want me to do more things like this, I can do tutorials. Let me know down in the comments what kind of art you want to see. If you want to see me, how do you draw this? How do you draw that? I'm not perfect at it. I can even just go through my process of drawing, looking at references and stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically it for the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and maybe your art journey will start pretty soon. Okay, bye guys.